Hello, this is Miss Bryant, and I am glad to get to be talking with you today. I was sick, and then I am now under quarantine, and the two are not related. But there you have it. This is what we have to do. So I am grateful that I at least can do your lessons. And what we're going to do is you are going to be given a packet. You probably already have it. It has the front page of the one that you actually did yesterday, and I think the back page as well. I wanted to go over it with you because you're going to be taking a quiz in a few minutes, and I wanted to go over with you how to do some of these and make sure that you are doing them correctly. So let's go ahead and get started on this. And all of these pages that you're given today, you need to make sure that you do not lose them because you're going to be needing them over the next couple of weeks, and I'm not going to be giving you more copies. This is all there is. And so you need to make sure they stay in your folder. So go ahead and put your name on this one. This page right here, the one that says, what do you call a pony with a sore throat? That is an extra credit assignment. You can turn this in by Monday. And if you have shown all of your work and you've got the answer here, if you have some questions about how to fill out the actual paper, that's fine. I don't mind helping with that. But if you have to show all of your work, but I will give you some extra credit for it if you do that. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about these. We're on the back side of that page now. So we're going to go ahead and have you put your name here. The date is 12/3. This is period 3 or period 4, depending on which class you're in. You are going to put up here your I can statement. I can evaluate expressions. That is what we are doing. All right. So whenever it says to evaluate, that always means to solve. Evaluate each expression given the variable replacements. So what that means is you're going to plug these numbers in to where the letters are, and then you're going to solve it. So we're going to write 5. We're going to say, it says 5m. So what does m mean? M is -7. If you have a letter and a variable next to each other, that means you're going to multiply. So we're going to use a parenthesis. So 5 times -7 plus 9, and this would be n is 4. Then we're going to follow order of operations. So order of operations, I have multiplication, addition, multiplication. So I'm going to multiply. 5 times -7 is -35. If I were you, whenever you are doing your quiz and even this assignment, I would get out my integer rule page that I gave you and use that to help you. Because if you do not use a resource I've given you, then you are just hurting yourself. And if you will pull those out and use them every single time with every single question, your grades will improve and your understanding will improve. And that's what we really want. Okay. So a negative times a positive, if there's only one negative, then the answer is negative. So plus 9 times 4, both positive, is going to be 36. So I have a -35 and a positive 36. Whenever I'm adding and my signs are different, I find the difference. 36 minus 35 is 1. And then I keep the sign of the one with the largest absolute value, which is 36. So I want you to put the plus sign in front of it, and that is going to be your answer. Okay? All right, number 2, x squared. Well, they say x is 8, so that means it needs to be 8 squared. Minus, they said x was 8, so so we've got 8 times y, which is -3. Okay, so first of all, if we're doing order of operations, we're going to, it says parentheses, but there's no work to be done inside that parentheses. So we're going to move on to exponents. Exponents, this is the same as 8 times 8. And if that helps you to write it that way, then write it that way so that you don't make that mistake of multiplying those two together. So 8 times 8 is 64 minus 8 times 3, I'm sorry, 8 times negative 3 is a negative 24. Okay, now we add the opposite. Whenever we're subtracting, we always add the opposite. So we're going to rewrite it. 64 plus a positive 24. Or you know that you can always make those into that big giant plus sign, right? Okay, so now I have a positive 64 and a positive 24. So when I add that together, I'm going to get 88. And I'm going to put the positive sign in front of it so that Miss Bryant knows that I know it really is a positive 88. Okay, number 3, I have 18 in parentheses minus A times B. So A is negative 2 and B is negative 5 plus 4 times B, which is negative 5. Okay, so what do we have here? First of all, we're multiplying, okay? So we are, going to start here. This is our parentheses right there, okay? So we have our negative 2 in a parenthesis, our negative 5 in a parenthesis, and then our 18, these right here belong to those right there, okay? So we're going to start inside our parentheses, and we're going to do our multiplication first. So this is 18 minus, and then these are multiplied. So we have to multiply inside the parentheses first. A negative 2 times a negative 5 is a negative 10. I bring down everything else. Okay, plus 4 times negative 5. All right, now I have my negative parenthesis negative, which means I'm adding a positive, right? So I'm going to make that a plus. I'm going to add that together. So that's 28 plus, I'm going to multiply that together. 4 times a negative 5 is a negative 20. Positive 28 and a negative 20. Whenever I subtract those, did I do that right? 18 and 8. Oh, that only gives me 8. Where did I get 28 from? A positive 18 and a negative 10 gives me a positive 8. There we go. That makes more sense. Okay, so now I have a positive 8 and a negative 20. And whenever I add those, I've got different signs. So I subtract 20 minus 8. That gives me 12. I keep the sign of the largest absolute value, which is negative. And there's my answer right there. Okay, now we're going to do number 4. We're going to start with negative 7. It says W squared. W is negative 4. So negative 4 squared plus 2 times W, which is also negative 4. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is first, I've got nothing in parentheses I have to do, but I do have an exponent. So that's going to be a negative 4 times a negative 4. Remember, it's not negative 4 times 2. Okay, so I'm multiplying really all of those, plus I'm adding that. So now I'm going to say, okay, well, actually, I need to do this one first. So I'm going to say this one because of my exponent. Negative 4 is a positive 16 times my negative 7 plus, and then this is going to be 2 times negative 4, which is negative 8. This negative 7 times 16 is negative 112 and a negative 8. And since my signs are the same, I'm going to add them and I'm going to keep the sign. And that's my answer. Okay. This one, 1/2 times 10. P is 9. So I'm going to put times 9 minus 7 times Q, which is 2. Okay. So, and I could put these in parentheses also. That's not going to hurt anything. Okay. So Now I have to do what's inside my parentheses, which is multiply. A 10 times 9 is going to be 90, minus 7 times 2 is going to be 14. And it's 1/2 times that. So 90 minus 14 is 76. And 1/2 times 76 is the same as 1/2 of 76, right? So 1/2 of 76 is 76 divided by 2, which is 38. And I'm going to put the plus out in front so Miss Bryant knows that I know that it's a positive. All right, number 6. I have my 12. X is a -8 divided by 4, and y is a +3. So I'm going to multiply those two first. 12 times a -8 is a -96 divided by 4 times 3. Now here's where it might get confusing. Remember, it's multiply or divide left to right. So you have to multiply the first one, then you have to divide this one. 96 divided by 4 is -24 times 3. Then you have to multiply this one. And if you don't do those in the right order, you will get that problem wrong. You have to remember your order of operations. And it's multiply or divide left to right. All right. Okay, number 7. You've got k to the 4th power, which is 3. I'm just going to cross that out. I don't want that there. 3 to the 4th power minus 7 times 3 to the 2nd power. All right, so now I need to remember this is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. I want to put that in parentheses so I remember, which is really 9 times 9, which is 81, minus 7 times 3 squared, which is 3 times 3, right? Which is 9. Okay, so now 7 times 9 is 63. And 81 minus 63 is going to be 18. Now you notice all these steps. If you're not doing all of these steps, if you're skipping them, then you are not going to be getting credit for this work. So you need to make sure you are showing your work the same way I'm showing my work. So I've got 10 C. C is -6. So I'm going to put a -6 minus CD, which is -6 times 2 plus D cubed, which is 2 cubed. All right, nothing to do in the parentheses, but I do have my exponent. 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. So I bring down everything else. 10, -6, and 2. Okay? 10, so I'm going to multiply next because I've got multiplication to do. So 10 times -6 is -60, minus -6 times 2 is -12, plus 8. So now I have a -60 minus a -12, which is, if it's subtraction, I add the opposite. So they're adding a negative, I have to add a positive. So -60 plus 12 plus 8. And because of the commutative property, I can rearrange these addition problems so I can add the two easiest things together first. So I'm going to add my 12 and my 8 to give me 20, because that's going to be a +20, and that's going to be a -60. And I know that those are easier for me to add mentally. So I'm going to say, I'm going to say -60 and +20 is a -40. Now, if I had done it this way, I would still come up with -48 plus 8 is a -40. So my answer is going to be the same. Number 9, 12 times xy. So 12 times 3 times -1 over 3 minus -1. So when it's a fraction, I do what's on the top, then what's on the bottom, then I divide. So 12 times 3 is 36, times -1 is -36. And then 3 minus -1 is the same as 3 plus a +1. So that is going to be 4. So -36 divided by 4 is -9. And my last one, 20. A is -4. I'm sorry, A is 4. B is -2 over A is 4 minus B is -2 squared. So I've got this parenthesis for the -2 and this for this right here. Okay, so let's take the top first. 20 times 4 is 80 times -2 is -160. Then here, first of all, I have to solve what's inside. So what's inside first is I'm adding a positive. So I make that positive. So 4 plus 2 is 6 squared, right? So 6 squared is 6 times 6, which is 36. So if I divide that, and I'm going to reduce those. So I'm going to divide them by 4. So this can be divided by 4, and this can be divided by 4. 160 divided by 4 becomes -40 over 36 divided by 4 is 9. These two do not share a factor, so that is my answer. So that is how you do this. Now, you can use these notes on your test. You can use your integer rules on your test. You can use any notes that you have ever taken for me on your test. So whenever you get your quiz, it's going to be over order of operations, translating, and evaluating expressions. So get all of those notes out and get started, and be sure that you write your finished answers here, but show your work right here. Do as much as you can get through today. There's 2 sides to this. I will make sure that you have time to finish it. If it doesn't all happen today, that's fine. But you're going to have to try to hurry and get it done in the next class period. Tomorrow, we're going to be doing the NWEA test that we do at the beginning of the year, the middle of the year, and the end of the year. And then on Monday, we're going to be starting something new. So you're going to want to try to make sure that this is finished, hopefully by tomorrow at the end of the hour. And if not, you'll have maybe 15 minutes at the beginning of Monday to finish. And other than that, you'll have to do it during tutoring. So go ahead and get started. If you have any specific questions for me, you can ask them. However, if it's how to do some of these things that you should have in your notes, I can't help you with that. So you're going to have to do the best that you can. If you don't score well on the test, you can come back and you can get more teaching, and you can watch the video again, and I will allow you to retake the test after you've done some more learning. So just remember that, okay? So I hope that you have a great day. You guys are fantastic, and I miss you so much. And I will talk with you soon. Have a great day and good luck on your test. Don't forget to show your work.